Hey, Space Watchers, and welcome back here from the first European Spaceplane Summit in Bremen. And I have the great honor to talk now with Ross Hulbert, the Head of Engagement at Spaceport Cornwall. Ross, how are you doing today?
Very good, very excited to be here. Like great conversations with lots of people developing amazing innovative technology all across Europe. So great to be all together here.
We just could listen to your wonderful presentation about the Spaceport Cornwall, and one thing that struck me, you launched the first European vertical launch with Virgin Orbit quite some time ago. So can you guide us through these challenges that you have to pass to setting that up? So from the regulatory, from the technical point of view,
Yeah, so the challenges and I guess the opportunities as well of being first, of being that pathfinder. So, at the time, it was it's the first ever sovereign launch that we've conducted out of the UK. So when we started, we had no UK spaceflight regulation. We had no certification process. We had a rough idea about how they did things in America, and the FAA had conducted successful launches, but it wasn't just a case of carrying that over. So, the infrastructure challenges about what we needed to build at Spaceport Cornwall were relatively simple. We're a small team added on to what's already an existing licensed passenger airport. So most of the technical and operational skills that we needed were already part of the airport, so we had the ability to grow during launch campaigns and shrink back down.
the 747 could launch and land.
Exactly.
Yeah?
And one of the other things, the challenges, which didn't end up being the case, was like, how do you create the drama? When you're thinking about vertical launch rockets, and we're talking about a 747 that's going to take off and drop a rocket at 40,000 feet, many miles away from the airport. Well, actually, during the launch campaign, when Cosmic Girl did arrive and was sat on the apron for all those months, and a 72-foot-long rocket was in the integration facility, there was plenty of drama. But I guess being that pathfinder, we had to navigate all of this for the first time. And Virgin Orbit were on the ground, they were conducting preparations work, and we didn't have our spaceport license. Everybody was working hard to get all this documentation and paperwork together, and then all the insurances that you needed as well. So the good thing for anyone that follows on from us is that they will greatly benefit from the fact that we all learned how to do this. And the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority in the UK, they also learned how to do it, so it will be easier and slicker and quicker in the times to come. So we hope that our partner spaceports out of Saxavord and possibly Sutherland as well in the next year or two will have easier launches because of the experience that we had. And we also hope that for ourselves, although we won't have a launch for the next year or two, when we do, we will hopefully be very refreshed to see how much the system has been improved.
And kudos to at least from our point of view, kudos to the UK government, who was brave enough to give it a go. And I think it showed clearly the political will of your very disputed Prime Minister at this point of time. But he did it, and you did it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. The UK government were really ambitious, and actually also our local government, Cornwall Council, were really ambitious. So they invested £12.5 million in this project in 2019. Before Virgin had successfully demonstrated their technology. That classic Richard Branson quote of if you wait for the business case to be proved, you've probably missed the opportunity. Someone else is doing it. So both the UK and the local government saw the opportunity really, not for the science community and for the payload community and the space ecosystem, but also for young people and graduates, and the local government, particularly in the schools and colleges, and now got this pipeline of young people who've been inspired by hopefully what we're doing, and in the coming years we'll get these amazing jobs that will be created.
As we all know that the Virgin launch was not successful till the end. What are the takeaways from this launch that you like to share with us, with the community?
Well, I think the first takeaway, which was of great comfort in the days after the launch was not a success, was the fact that in engineering terms, there's no such thing as failure. So there's data, and there's no failure as long as you learn. So, and Virgin Orbit were trying as hard as they could to learn from that, and they had a launch scheduled for Japan, which unfortunately they weren't able to complete. But from our point of view, we were also able to reflect on the fact that while the satellites didn't reach orbit, the spaceport worked. So the regulations worked and the certifications worked, and it made us, we woke up the next morning, we were the UK's first licensed spaceport, we're the only operational orbital spaceport in Europe, and what a huge amount of opportunity there is for us there. And we also want to expand what we're able to do because we're an operational airport, we have all that expertise, and that's one of the reasons why we're here and so excited to speak to Polaris and Dawn Aerospace and other spaceplane companies that are here, that we have this unrivaled operational environment where people can come in, use the airspace, and probably if we were just doing launches with Virgin over these next couple of years, which was the plan, we wouldn't have had the bandwidth to actually concentrate on those opportunities. So as sad as it was that what's happened to Virgin, it probably has enabled us to strengthen the business case and hopefully do lots of more exciting things in the future.
Talking about opportunities, what will be next on your agenda?
Well, the next launch is likely to be a partnership with Sierra Space for their Dream Chaser vehicle. We had a partnership with them always, but it was just, it's going to follow on. They're concentrating on that.
That's a landing then?
That's a landing, yes. So launch at Canaveral, and at the moment we're just their emergency divert location. So they're concentrating on their launches out of the US, which we wish them every successful. So because we don't want to see them in the next few years, because that means something's gone wrong. And then we will be busily not launching as it sounds. So in order for Space Engine Systems or Sierra Space, any other companies that we're talking to, if they are going to hit these first launches in 2027, 28, there's a lot of work we need to do in the interim. So really, day to day, we're now focused on the businesses that we've attracted in. So we had the first launch in January. We opened our first building not dissimilar to the one we have here today, like an ecosystem for launch-enabled businesses to locate. And that was a nervous moment. You open a building, and the months after a launch that hadn't worked in the aftermath of COVID, and a lot of home working going on. And now, 1 year on from that, that building is now full, and we're able to talk to the airport about building new facilities. And being in Bremen and seeing the ecosystem we have here with OHB and all of these amazing businesses, if we could have just a small piece of that, that would be brilliant. So that becomes our focus as well. I'm really inspired to be here.
Final question, look into your crystal ball. Will Cornwall be the location to go for space planes at large?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because of this operation environment, before we were doing the Spaceport project, we had segregated airspace approved for unmanned system testing, and then our focus moved elsewhere. So in a way, we're working with Hulbert, who operate a airfield down at Prydanic in Cornwall. So this is our tagline. So we want Spaceport Cornwall to be Europe's solution for future air and space. So whether that's early stage testing that you can do out of Prydanic, whether that's getting to a point where you want to be offering commercial services, and you might not want to be at a sort of remote airfield, but you want to be at a well-connected airport. We want to anticipate mixed-use airspace, and we're working with the regulator, the CAA, as well as the Department for Transport, to try and test that sort of technology in the next couple of years, and then get to a situation where people can offer commercial services. So there's no reason why Cornwall can't be the answer.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. And with that, Space Watch out.